I'm Zachy Binata, and welcome to the debut episode 1 of Hangin With Hibbi. My very first guest is Michelle Grimard, also known as The Great Fight. She's a local Hamilton artist that I personally think is one of the best artists out right now in the local scene. So there's that title you have right now, you could say. So yeah, how's it going, Michelle?
Well, I'm great now that I know that someone actually likes my music. That's pretty cool. That's a bold statement to hear. So thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, no problem.
And thanks for having me. I think this is a cool idea. You can never have enough local support. So, it's an honor to be your first guest. This is really cool.
Yeah, awesome. So just a quick, introduction. So you go by The Great Fight, right? I was wondering where the origins of that came from.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, when I first started writing music, so I've been playing a long time. Okay, so when I first started writing songs and seriously thinking about the content that I wanted to have behind my own songs, they were always very personal. I'm very open about my struggle with mental health and all that stuff, and my songs were always kind of geared towards that. So I knew that when I wanted to do something more official and actually have a name for myself as an artist, I wanted it to kind of represent that. So to me, the great fight is kind of just like life because we're always fighting against something. For me, it just happens to be mental health, but everyone has their own struggles. So the great fight is just whatever you're going through and whatever you get through.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
And while on the topic, and you just released a new song a couple weeks ago called Loaded, and yeah. I really like the song. You also just sent me a little teaser of a new song you're going to be dropping next week. Yeah, next week.
Yeah, next Friday.
And I'm really enjoying it. You guys are going to hear a little of it towards the end of the episode. But yeah, the Loaded. How was the process of writing that song?
Yeah, so Loaded is a song that I've actually been sitting on for quite a number of years. I always knew I wanted to release it. It just never, I think, was the right time. So that song specifically is about it. Okay, so for me, it's really hard to kind of place myself in the world just because anxiety always has me up in limbo, so to speak. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that kind of can identify with that feeling. So Loaded is basically just trying to find your place when you can't stay grounded because your mind is just scatterbrained.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I didn't release that song because when I wrote it, I definitely was in that headspace of just always being anxious and not knowing what I should do with my life and all that kind of stuff, and just never having peace and never feeling calm and all that stuff. So I think the reason why I'm able to kind of release it now and stand behind the song is because I've significantly improved that part of my life. I definitely feel like I have some footing where I am in my life right now. So yeah, that song is pretty much just dealing with anxiety and trying to find some peace in your life.
Yeah, that's what I personally like about your music. It just, for me personally, it just hits a certain chord with me, with just all the messaging you have. So mental health, anxiety, and all that. I just personally find that amazing with that. Whenever any artist in general does that, I think it's an amazing thing that they could, they're so open about what they're going through in their personal life.
For sure, yeah. I mean, there's lots of artists that not even artists, just people out there that are open with their struggles. And I think when we do that, we get rid of the shame and we get rid of the stigma, because if you hear, oh, so and so, they're being open about having depression or having anxiety or whatever it may be. Those seem to be the big ones. But yeah, I honestly have no shame in talking about it because it's who I am. It's something I have to deal with and I will deal with for my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people out there in that same situation. So, I write songs for myself because that's just how I express myself. But there's a part of me that's like, if I can help someone feel a little bit better with what they're going through, then, that's nothing beats that in my opinion.
Awesome. And so you're dropping singles, right? And is this gonna be all for a new album that's coming out, or is it just like?
Yeah, so I have been working on a whole body of music. Right now it's just going to be singles. I'm hoping next year I'm going to have a really cool EP that I'm going to release. It's just a matter of time, good timing at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's definitely more to come.
All right. Awesome. So from writing these new songs, is there a difference with like how you approach this, the writing wise, versus your last album last year? Something's missing. Is there like a feel there's like a giant difference between them?
uh, I think the biggest difference is just my confidence,
Yeah.
honestly, because when I wrote the EP Something's Missing, when I wrote those songs, I hadn't really played many shows. I was doing like open mics and just kind of like
Mm.
jamming with friends and stuff like that, but I never, like, I wasn't really playing venues and stuff like that. Um, Obviously, like, those songs got me a lot of attention from people like in the local scene and stuff like that. And that's where all the shows happen. Like the
Yeah.
year that I released that EP was insane. I never thought that I would get to play like that many shows and like in different cities and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Like, so, fast forward to now, these songs that are coming out, I've written this year. So I feel more confident just in my abilities. I've been playing a long time, so I do feel like I do have a knack for, writing songs and stuff, but I guess just having the support behind me has just given me more confidence to really like explore the sound that I want to have. Like I'm definitely diving into different things with these songs. Like, I have like more instruments and just like the way I'm arranging them, I'm not afraid to kind of just do whatever I want as opposed to, oh, like I should write a certain way because, that's what people are gonna like.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird because now that I have support,
Yeah.
I don't care what people think. it's it's kind of
Yeah.
contradicting, but
Yeah.
now that I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense.
Oh, it does. Don't worry. Also, I
Yeah.
guess I could kind of bring up the exclusive song I got. I could spoil one thing. There's a shaker at the end, and it's really good. It's a really
Yeah,
good. I was listening like, yo, there's a shaker in there. It's pretty intense. So
we're getting fun.
I'm personally pumped for the new singles you'll be dropping in the next couple months or so. It's gonna be
Thanks, man.
it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, no problem.
thanks.
Also, so now we just want to get kind of like I guess the origin story of how you got into music. Like what got you into? Where
Mm.
you did lessons as a kid, or you just kind of wanted to start playing guitar?
Yeah, so no lessons. I've never taken a lesson in my life. That's nothing against, people that have done that.
Mm-hmm.
So long story long, like I come from a family of musicians. Like my stepdad plays guitar and my mom plays piano and she, was always singing growing up and all this stuff. So they definitely encouraged me to play. The first instrument I played was actually the violin, and I hated it. Still to this day, nothing against the violin or anything, but still to this day, like the sound of a violin just like makes me feel bad about myself because it was not good.
So
But
Yellow Card isn't like your top top favorite band right now.
well, there's some exceptions,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, you know what, I just wanted to be. I thought my dad was cool. He was playing guitar. I
Mm.
wanted to do that. So I think it was about like 10. He got me my first guitar from all the Hamilton folks from Absolute Music. If you
Oh
know,
man, yeah.
yeah, shitty
R.I.P.
little, yeah, R.I.P. R.I.P. Uh, shitty little Fender Strat wannabe with a tiny little box amp that sounds like, a shoebox.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The classic setup, for a 10-year-old. But I just kept playing and playing, and then, like my best friend growing up, he played drums, so we were always jamming all the time, and we kind of just found this love of music, and like we started just playing in bands, and then kind of in high school I got more interested in the acoustic guitar and singing. um, I guess I can't say I didn't have lessons, because in high school I did take guitar class.
Hmm.
So if that counts, then I guess there's that. But so my high school teacher, Mr. McLean, Kevin McLean, good guy, he encouraged me to start singing and like taking my guitar playing seriously. So I did. And I remember going to my first open mic. I think it was at the Baltimore House again, RIP.
R.I.P. man.
Hamilton Classic.
I saw like a flashback there for.
Yeah, right? Baltimore House, homegrown. Like I was
yeah.
playing open mics at those types of places, and I wasn't very good because again, anxiety like got the best of me, and I was just this like fragile little girl on stage with her guitar, like just awful. But eventually I found this place called Zyla's. Again, RIP. Oh my god. Yo, this is making me sad. Like all these good places gone, but
it's just like a death counter, like on the.
Actually, yeah, we should count how many places that we mentioned.
I'll just post a picture, just an X on it every time.
Yeah, we need a counter like in the screen of how many places we mentioned that are now gone. But anyway, my friend, calls me up. He's like, "Hey, this new place Zyla's just opened on James Street. They're doing an open mic. You should come." So I went, and there was like maybe 3 people there because they literally just opened like maybe a month before. But I became really good friends like with the owners, and if you guys know Zyla's, like they were always playing shows. They always had amazing like live bands, jazz bands. They would do open mics, and just really, really cool place. Really great place to network.
Mm-hmm.
So Zyla's for sure was like the driving force behind me starting the great, and found my confidence there. And I met all these amazing people, all these amazing artists and musicians there. And they were like, yeah, like, of course you should have, a project or a band or something like that. So I was like, you know what? These open mics are going pretty well. Maybe I should try and do something a little more serious. So at that point, I already had some songs written and demoed that I had done myself. And I went and got some of them recorded. I started playing shows at Zyla's, and then, fast forward a little bit after that, released my EP, and like people just started asking me to play shows. Like, hey, you want to open the show? Hey, you want to open the show? And I got to play like a couple headliners, which was really cool.
That's awesome.
And yeah, honestly, like if you told like little 10-year-old Michelle, like, hey, you're gonna get to play, these types of shows with like amazing bands, I would have said, no, you're stupid. You're crazy.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
I guess on the same topic, I remember because I never mentioned to you. I guess for the listener too, this could be news. But I was in a band for like a hot like little bit too back in 2017. I think we're only really a band for a couple months. But yeah, I remember the first show was at the Absinthe. We were just writing songs, practicing everything. Okay, we'll start like looking to do shows and stuff. And I got a text message just saying, "Hey, we're doing the Absinthe next week." I'm like, what? It's for like a super crawl, like after hours kind of deal. It was
right on.
It was a strange show. I guess I'll tell the story. Do it. So we opened we were one of the openers, and the one after us, I don't know if you know the band Axe Minister.
I don't.
They're this. Shout out to Axe Minister. They're insane. So
all right.
we arrive at the venue, and we're like bringing in our equipment, and then this one older guy with like this kind of big beard comes up. They're like, "Oh, hey, are you one of the openers?" "Yeah, we're heads up or whatever." And then he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm an Axe Minister." He just looks like this like really chill dude, just wearing like a hoodie with his coffee. Oh, cool. We just like we're talking there. Marco and the guy were talking about like guitars and all that stuff. And suddenly we finish, and then suddenly the next band comes up, Axe Minister. Suddenly this guy has like this dark cloak on. He has like a hooded cloak on. He has this cloak on. He has like this white face paint on, like these like gothic face paint on. He's like, "We're Axe Minister."
And what genre were you guys?
We were just post hardcore, like
Seems fitting.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what a transition. And again, there was like probably like max 5 people there, I think. But yeah, I get those nerves because it's just like, hey, we're gonna play this venue that you've been going to since high school. Okay, cool, bye. And it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, the first show was insane to do. I think for everyone in general, like doing your first show as an artist or a band is like the most nerve wracking thing in the world
Oh my God.
because you don't know what's gonna happen. Like it could go bad, it could go good, or like whatever can happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. And speaking of, going to places since high school, so my first like venue show was at the Casbah. And of course, I always went to shows there. I saw so many amazing bands there. So to have my first show there, of course, was an honor. And
Yeah,
they're just an overall like a really cool place. But oh my God, like I have never been so nervous in my life.
yeah.
And I have some videos from that show, and it wasn't terrible. It wasn't great, obviously, as you expect it to be, but I don't know, man. There's something about that first show that just really changes you. Like I have never learned so much in one night about music. It's incredible.
Yeah, I guess like that's going to go into the next question. Just talking about the music scene in Hamilton. Just like you brought
Mm.
up the Casbah. That was my first show too in 2013. That was like Real Friends, Man Overboard, and my brother's old band, Go to the West, was over there.
Yes, nice.
That was like my first show. No, technically the first show was Go to the West, and then the second show was that same venue. But yeah, the Casbah, just like one of the coolest venues I've been to. Like I've been to at least local wise. Is just
Absolutely. Yeah, they have a really good vibe. I like the setup that they have. Not to mention, like they take their sound like
oh
seriously.
yeah, for sure.
Like they have a good sound in there too.
Yeah, with the music scene, when did you start actually like diving into like going to like local shows and listening to a bunch of like local artists?
Hmm. Um, Probably high school because at that point, like I said, like my best friend at the time, like we were kind of jamming together, and then you know he'd go and play a show like at the Casbah or something,
Mm.
and you're playing with all these other bands, and then you discover them, and then it's like, well, oh, they're gonna go play a show like next week at this other place, so you go and you check that out, and you
Mm.
just keep discovering all these amazing bands. So yeah, I guess just being a musician, like it just kind of has happened naturally that I just have always kind of had my nose in the music scene, especially in Hamilton, but just kind of like Ontario in general. So yeah, hopefully that hope answers your question.
Yeah, just like being around. I guess again with me in high school is around the time I started. I started going to shows by myself really because I didn't really have any friends that would want to go to local shows. Like, oh, it looks sketchy, blah 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 blah.
Mm,
So I was like, okay, I'll go by myself. So in the beginning, I just been going to shows by myself, and I personally, me, I don't mind going to shows by myself. It's really fun to just be at at a show and like just to see live music. And then as like high school went, I just slowly started. First, it was dragging my friends. Like, hey, come to the show. It's like cool pop punk band. Like, all right, fine. And then as it's slowly like throughout the months, like, hey, are we going to that show next month? I'm like, oh yeah, I was actually gonna bring that up. And then just now I have like these group of friends I could like when shows existed still, I could be like,
yeah,
hey, like, hey, whatever band is playing Absinthe, you want to go? Yeah, sure. So then it's nice to have like these group of people I could like message to see like, hey, you want to go to the show with me?
yeah, absolutely. And that's the great thing about it is like you have this little community of friends that you all have this one thing in common because it started the same way for me. Like I would go to Absinthe like almost every weekend or every
Oh
other
yeah, for
weekend
sure.
whenever there were shows. And half the time I'd go by myself because I didn't really have a whole lot of music friends that like were interested.
Mhm.
But like you said, like it's nice because you can just do your own thing. You don't have to worry about, oh, my friend's not having a good time, like that sucks. So
Oh, they have to leave early for something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My mom's gotta come pick me up at
Yeah.
10, okay?
Oh no, that hit that just like so relatable. Like almost like
Yeah,
beginning of high school. Like, hey, I'm coming. It's like 10 o'clock, but the last band's about to go on now.
yeah. But the last band doesn't go on until 12. Oh.
Till 12. Just be patient, Bob. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the Doors shows where like the
Oh yeah.
headliner goes on at midnight. But yeah, so over time I started meeting people at shows, and then before I knew it, like I had a cool group of friends that it's like, "Oh, did you hear so and so's playing? Yeah, we're totally going, like without a question." So, yeah, there's definitely a super strong and united community in Hamilton. It's pretty great.
Yeah, and also I guess going along with that, it's just the state of live music right now, and
Mm,
where do you think where it's gonna go toward in so a couple like year or so?
couple years. Well, I hope we get to go back to live music. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
that's where the heart is. That's where the passion's at.
Mhm.
I think right now I really like the ideas of like doing live streams.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like
Um,
how bands are finding out a way to like counter like the live music thing. Just like yeah, just like live stream like a set or something like that.
yeah. So funny enough, like last Saturday, so I really like this band called Paris.
Oh
Probably
yeah,
heard of
Paris
them.
is great.
Yeah, Paris, they're sick.
Yeah.
They just did a live stream last Saturday evening of
Mhm.
their first album. They played
Oh
it back
really?
to
Oh,
front.
I missed
Yeah,
that. Oh my,
yeah,
I gotta watch that later.
it was pretty cool. They're gonna do like each album, I think, front to back. So, you
Ooh,
know,
okay, I gotta get ready for the
free
next tour.
advertisement for them. But
Lynn
on,
Gunn, do you want to go on this?
hey Lynn, if you hear this podcast, hit me up. Um, but okay, so yeah, they did their album like front to back, super cool. I think they did a really good job. Like just the idea of doing a live stream instead of a show is awesome. But the thing for me is like there's no energy. There's energy from the band, but there's
Yeah,
no like energy from the audience. That
there's like
and
an
that
odd person that jumps off the stage randomly, or like, like
where's the stage dive?
where's the stage
Where's the
divers?
crowd surfing? You know? But so I love the live streams, you know, but there's nothing beats live music and like in
Yeah, for
person
sure.
live music, you know? So, you know, I don't know. I think right now, like all the creatives, like we're all struggling, you know. We can't
Hmm.
play shows. Like what are we supposed to do, right? But, you know, we'll find a way. We're creative people, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we'll find a way. But I'm hoping that it'll come to a point where we can start playing shows in person again because I think we need that like more than ever right now.
Oh yeah, it's just it's a bummer getting like you have all these like I guess I'll at some point like in every episode I'll bring up K-pop, but like I was supposed to see BTS like back in I think July. I got like they're supposed to play at the Air Canada Center. I got the floor seats. Like I was like, oh, this is gonna be sick. And then just like yeah, everything just like came crashing down. So just like saying like so I saw like a calendar notification like you're gonna see them tomorrow. I'm like, am I gonna see them tomorrow? it's like
Oh,
it's like not only that, but like a bunch of bands I was like looking forward to. Like some were about to like go on tour and all that stuff. It's just a
yeah.
bummer to see everyone like yeah maybe next year we'll do it.
Who knows? We're just on hold. Like, and here's the thing: like, there's so many bands that are like announcing tours or like rescheduling their shows for next year, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, can you really guarantee that right
Yeah,
now?
exactly.
Like, everything is so unstable and uncertain. Like, we don't know.
Hmm.
But it really is heartbreaking because, you know, if you're not a musician or at least like a very intense music fan, a lot of people don't understand the preparation that goes into a tour. Like to have
Hmm.
to cancel a tour, oh my god, man! Like that's the
It's a giant
last
like
thing that I
stab
want to do.
stab in the
Yeah,
heart.
honestly, yeah. I think you know there was a lot of heartbroken people not just fans, but like the musicians themselves. Just a lot of
Hmm.
heartbroken people out there that are like, you know what, we don't have a choice. What are we supposed to do? You know,
Yes, yeah,
obviously
especially.
everyone's health and safety is at the forefront. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Especially when artists and bands just release new albums for like the past couple months, and they're like, we wish we could do like a tour of this album, and then I'm listening to, like, for example, the new Touche Amore album. I was like, oh, so this song would be great live. Just have this like an imaginary concert in your head of what it would be like.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other part of it too, is like, you know, that's how you're gonna make your money, and that's how you're gonna put yourself out there, is by playing shows, right? Like even now, like I questioned, should I even release music right now if I can't play shows and, you know, get out there? There's really no, not that it's all about money, but again, the planning that goes into a tour, like, you know, that's how you're gonna get by
Yeah.
at the very least. So, you know, to only just put out music and then, you know, I don't know. It's I'm kind of rambling now, but I don't know. It's
No,
just it
I
really
feel that
sucks.
100%. Like I guess like, exclusive is like I'm in the middle of writing an album too, and there's a little bit where I was in that, like, yeah, that burnout kind of. It's just like, do I
Mm,
really want to do this? It's just like kind of like, I guess, in just not music, just in general, just like doing anything, and just like you get this burnout. It's just like, is it, do I really want to do this if it's gonna end up like blank? Just like recently, it's been good because I just kind of found my bearings again and try to, like, I'm now I'm like starting to pick it up again. So hopefully it will be like done by the new year. But yeah, just like that, just trying to find that motivation, I guess it would be called, to like
mm.
just like continue doing something that you love when not even like knowing what's gonna happen in the future.
Yeah, yeah. It's a hard call, you know. Again, because you want to be able to support yourself and support the music, and you know, again, it's all about the vibe and the atmosphere. So if
Mm-hmm.
people aren't going to shows, like where is that, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I can definitely understand and, you know, appreciate the apprehension behind, you know, doing music. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, like you'll probably agree, like I write music for myself. I'm going to be writing music no matter what,
Yes,
whether
for sure.
people are listening or they're not. So, you know, it's just an added bonus that people get to enjoy it, you know, for themselves. But dude, I'm excited to hear your music.
Yeah, I'm excited to work on it. I was like the past like couple weeks, I just like hop in into like Ableton Live and just kind of like mess around making beats and stuff. It's like I'm
Nice.
sorry, I'm feeling like this creative brain coming back to life. It's just like, oh, I have all these ideas, so just like throwing all of that right now is really exciting for me. I guess like still on the topic of live music, just talk about, yeah, just shows in general. Do you have any favorite shows that comes to mind? I know you saw Childish Gambino last year, was it? Or 2 years
No,
ago?
I think it was 2 years
2 years
ago.
ago. But yeah, like stuff like that. Is there any that's like your all time favorite like show you've been to? You can name like a
Mm,
couple. You don't have to name like my number
yeah,
one.
yeah. I don't know if I can pick just one. I've seen lots of shows. Um, well, okay, so a big one for me is, I don't even remember which year. It might have been like 2012 or 13 or like somewhere around there. I got to see Alice in Chains, Deftones, and Mastodon. That was the lineup.
What? That's an insane lineup.
Yeah, in Toronto at the, I believe it's called the Budweiser stage now, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
they changed all the names of these
Oh yeah,
stages, so I'm trying to
yeah.
stay current. But yeah, that was, and I was like front row in center, and it was insane. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure like I damaged my ribs because people were like pushing up against me, and I was like
Oh
against them, but I didn't even care. It was so sick because if anyone knows me, like they know that that's like some of those are three of my favorite all time bands.
yeah. Hmm.
So to have them all play a show together, and like at that time they had just released albums that were amazing.
Hmm.
Like um Alice in Chains had released Black Gives Way to Blue,
Hmm.
Deftones had just released Diamond Eyes, and then Mastodon had just released, I want to say it was Crack the Sky or The Hunter. It might have been Crack the Sky. Yeah, it was Crack the Sky.
Hmm.
Um and like all of those albums are just perfect front to
Yeah.
back. So that was definitely like one of the best concerts I've ever been to. But yeah, Childish Gambino was amazing.
I can imagine that
Like,
being amazing.
oh my god, dude! Like the entire time, I just sat there and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah,
Like, in,
like,
in,
bro,
in a good way,
stop,
in a good way.
bro,
Yeah,
stop. You're
like, dude,
I'm crying over
stop,
here. Stop.
dude. That man's falsetto is insane.
Oh yeah, I've seen like
Like,
clips of him
he
singing
doesn't
like
get enough
live. It's
credit.
insane.
He does
Yeah,
not get enough credit. That man is so talented,
deserves all the
just
love.
all around. Yeah, not even just him. Like the band that he had backing him up.
Oh,
Like,
in a live band too. Oh man, I would have
yeah,
freaked
man,
out during that.
dude, there was a full band backing him with this amazing light show. Like, I had to give all of them credit,
Yeah,
honestly. Like, obviously, like you're going there for him, but I was
yeah.
just blown away by the band. Like, I was not expecting that. It was really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. It's going along that it just live bands just again K-pop Blackpink when they came to Hamilton. They started the show and I suddenly hear like guitar and drums like oh this it's like a pre-recorded probably. Then I'm listening more. I'm like this sounds like it's a live band. And suddenly they just like they open like these like curtains and there's just a live band. And I guess
Yes.
in the middle of like the group like changing whatever they had just a giant like jam session in the middle of everything. So every
That's cool.
member in the live band got to do like a little solo. Everyone like sat down to like, oh, there's just a live band. Me, I'm just like, I have videos of me screaming. It was just like, yeah, go on. It's like the drummer and the guitarist, the keyboards. I was doing these insane solos. I was just out of everyone there. I feel like I was the only one that was like super hyped about it.
But that just goes to show that you're like a fan of music, not
Yeah.
just like the artist itself, because I don't like, again, same thing. Like, you just kind of fangirl over the musicians that are
Yeah.
behind the actual like song. It's cool. That's sick.
Yeah, just like just going to concerts in general is this amazing thing. I think I was thinking about it, just like what my one of my favorite concerts were, and it was actually last year seeing Brockhampton. I think
Oh man,
seeing them live. Every time I listen to them now and just watch music videos, I'm like, I'm so glad I got to see them live, because they've basically just helped me get through college in general. Just like the entire Saturation trilogy and all like their album Iridescence and Ginger, just all of their music just helped me in a huge personal way. I was able to get floor like seats for that. So I was just in like the pit during that. Just the entire time, just like Childish Gambino, I'm like my mind was blown the entire time. Just they're playing hits after hits after hits and just screaming my lungs out. It was just a fun time because before that I kind of slowed down on going to a lot of shows, but so just going to this just felt like I just had like this just revived that like concert Zach I was like in high school, like me, like because now I kind of like just chill in the back, like watching the band. But in high school, I was like in like the pit doing crowd surfs, like running around. So just like bringing that back for Brockhampton was an amazing experience to do that for.
dude, I bet. I'm pretty jealous, not gonna lie.
And then I probably up there too is seeing Tyler the Creator. I think
Ooh,
I got to see him twice. I saw him when Flower Boy came out. That's in my top 5 for sure. Just in general to see artists live. And then when Igor came out, that was a really cool show too. Just like
both perfect albums.
yeah, exactly. Just
Yeah,
also
that's so cool.
With Tyler the Creator in general, I guess this will go along with the next question. Just like he's a huge same with Daft Punk as well. I have a Daft Punk tattoo. Just him and Daft Punk and Tyler the Creator, they're just huge inspirations for me for music wise. And yeah, the question, I guess the question would be, what are your inspirations? Like, is there anyone that you look up to music wise, or just in general?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on the topic of tattoos, I mean, I have Alexis on Fire tattoos, so I think that says a lot about me. So definitely a big City and Color fan as well, and I hear that all the time, like, oh wow, definitely hear the influence from City and Color, and I mean, yeah, it's there. Dallas Green is great, so I'm not going to deny that. But right now, I mean, I listen to so much music, so it's just kind of all over the place. But like Owen just put out a really, really great
Mhm.
album called The Avalanche. So that's Mike Kinsella from like American Football.
Oh,
If
okay,
you're,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, he has a like an acoustic kind of band, like a little indie band called Owen, and yeah, really, really great album. So that's definitely been like a big influence for me this year. I really love like how he arranges songs and how he's not afraid to just like incorporate different instruments and stuff. So I think that kind of gave me a little nudge, just like maybe try something different and just go with your gut in that. But um, yeah, I listen to like so much, so I don't know if I like can really pinpoint anything like specific, but I listen to metal, I listen to pop punk and hardcore, and I like jazz and I
Yep.
like rap, and I'm all over the place. So I'm definitely trying to kind of experiment um, with new things in these new songs, and definitely once the EP comes out, I feel like everyone will kind of see that I definitely am a little all over the place, but hopefully
Mhm.
it's in a good way.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess one more artist that I kind of look up to is, I don't know if you know Rich Brian.
Oh, I do. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He
I
released an
pers
album last year.
yeah, the
Yeah,
Sailor. But
yeah, it was
yeah,
cool.
I as an Asian, I feel like personally for just Asian representation, just seeing like besides K-pop obviously, but seeing like Rich
Mm,
Brian, Joji, just everyone in 88 Rising, just seeing a bunch of like Asian artists like blowing up right now. I just feel like it's also just it motivates me to keep going. Like it's like, oh, I could, if he could do it, I could do it, like kind of thing. It's just, I love
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Representation is everything, and even as a female musician, like growing up, I now realize that like probably 99% of the music I listen to is all male. So that's why like honestly Paris is one of my favorite bands right
Oh yeah,
now, and then especially like being in the queer community, like having Lynn Gunn fronting her own band and just like
yeah,
slaying it. I look at that and it just gives me a little piece of hope,
yeah,
or
exactly.
like right now, like I'm absolutely loving Phoebe Bridgers' new album.
Oh yes, yes,
So good,
it's so good.
so good. Yeah. So I think, even in the making of this album and like how I'm trying to kind of market myself and all that, I knew that I wanted to have like more female creative. So like
Mhm.
all the photos that we've done, all the artwork, like it's all us ladies. So I really made it a point to kind of have more female representation, which I think is pretty cool. So
Yeah,
goes a long
awesome.
way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And on the topic of your music, what is the writing process like when you write a song? Is there
Yeah.
like a specific thing you start with, like lyrics, a beat, or anything?
Um, no, it's not the same every time. What I normally do is like I'm always writing stuff in my phone.
Hmm.
Um, whether it's like thoughts or sometimes I'll journal or I'll just like write poetry, or if I have like the classic scenario, you're laying in bed at like two
Like
o'clock in the
2 a.m.
morning,
Exactly.
uh,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I have the perfect
Oh,
line,
and then you just take up your phone. Yeah.
and I'll just put it in my phone. Very rarely do I sit down and just, oh, I'm gonna write lyrics now for
Mhm.
this song. Usually I'll just like kind of piece things together and kind of fill in the gaps. um and then as far as like instruments go, the instruments, like the guitar usually comes first, just
Mhm.
because I've been playing guitar longer than I've been singing, or at least trying to sing. So that comes naturally, a little like more naturally to me. So yeah, it usually just comes from me jamming. Like I'm always playing, so if I like a riff, I'll again like record it on my phone, or I have my little audio interface at home, so I'll
Mhm.
just like do a little home recording, and I just kind of build off of that. Yeah, like very rarely will I sit down and be like, I'm gonna write a song right now. Like that's just some people can do that.
Yeah,
It doesn't happen
I
that way
tried
for
doing
me.
that. I just ended up staring at my phone for like an hour. I'm like, I got nothing. It's just
Yeah,
it has to come like yeah, it has to come naturally.
it does. Yeah. Like, could I do that? Probably.
Hmm.
Would it be good? Would it be genuine? Probably not.
Hmm.
Like, just because my songs are so personal, I try and just let everything kind of flow naturally. And then it's like when the songs are ready, when I have enough material to work off of, then I'll start putting things together. But yeah, I don't know if that's really a process. It just kind of happens when it happens.
Yeah, for sure. Like you mentioned earlier, you're releasing this new EP next year. Do you have any song like favorite songs that you ever written? Not even from this EP, just in general. Is there a song that like stands out for you?
Yeah, so the my favorite song is actually releasing December 4th. I don't know when you're putting this podcast out there, so I'll go by dates, but
Yeah.
so December 4th I'm releasing a song called What We Need.
Yep.
And out of all the songs that I've written, like even still to this day, it's my favorite one, honestly. Like I'm pretty proud of it, and I think I'm finally uh showcasing my talent and my hard work, because I've put a lot of hard work in over the years, kind of behind the scenes. And it's finally like the direction and the sound that I really want to capture. So really proud of that song. I'm really, really excited for everyone to hear it. Um, the chorus, oh man, that's a good chorus. I'm pretty proud of that chorus.
Wrapping up this episode, what are some of your favorite albums of all time? Would you say?
Ooh, okay. That's a good one. So definitely my favorite album of all time is Little Hell by City and Color.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think that's a perfect album front to back. I That came out when I was in high school, and it literally changed my thoughts on how music should be done.
Hmm.
Because I up until that point I was totally that metalhead kid that thought they had to be tough and they had to be cool, and you can't
Hmm.
listen to different genres and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But then I don't know, there's just something about that album that just really opened my mind to this whole new world of music in different genres. So Little Hell for sure is at like up there for me.
Mhm.
Um, Again, stemming from metal and stuff like that, if I'm going back like years ago, Metallica was one of my favorite bands. I actually
Mhm.
have a Metallica tattoo. Uh, so
Is it
like
Lars
like
Ulrich's face? Just like the best drummer to ever exist.
please let it be known I do not have Lars's face anywhere near my body. I actually, do you want to know what it is?
What's up?
Okay, so like one of my favorite albums is Master of Puppets.
Oh yeah.
For anyone that's familiar, there is a instrumental song called Orion on there, and in the middle of the song, there's this amazing pause, and it's just bass. It's this really cool bass riff. So I have that bass riff on my wrist because
Really?
I
Oh,
am.
that's cool. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So, and that was the first tattoo I got as well. I was like 16, and I like begged my mom. I'm like, please, please, it's so important to me. She's like, oh, I guess,
All right,
okay.
let's go.
Shout out to my mom. But yeah, so Master Puppets is up there. Um, Another really popular, not popular, they're not popular. Is Master popular? I don't know. They're popular to me. Um, they have an album called Crack the Sky, which is like a prog rock, prog metal masterpiece in my mind. So a lot of my my flowy riffs, and a lot of like my kind of more proggy riffs definitely stem from just listening to them. Um, and then you know right now, I mean, what else? That Owen album. I still keep thinking about that Owen
I'll
album, The
listen to that
Avalanche.
after because I remember him like kind
Oh,
of bringing up like, oh, I got this new stuff coming out, and I didn't really see like when it was coming out, so I gotta check that out most definitely
it's good.
after.
Yeah, it's really good. Um, There's this really cool metal band. They're called Loathe. They put out an album this year.
Okay.
Really, really cool. They're definitely like changing it up. I don't even know what genre to call it because it's all over the place. Like
Mm.
it's really good. I think it's called uh I Let It In and it took me oh man, what was it? No, I Let It In and it took everything. Yeah,
Mm.
really good album. I would suggest checking that out. And then yeah, like um that Phoebe Bridgers album.
Mm.
That's definitely rocking my world this year. And then there's another like local band. They're called Outer Rooms. They
Okay.
just put out an album recently. It's called All Will Be Well and All Will Be Well, etc., etc.
Mm.
And it is phenomenal. Shout out to those guys. I think they deserve all the recognition. I got to play a show with them, I think like 2 years ago, and they're just like the coolest dudes. They didn't pay me to say this. I just think they deserve a shout out because that album is like probably one of my favorites from this year. So kudos to them.
Awesome. I guess some of my favorite albums, again, Daft Punk. Daft Punk's Random Access Memories. That's most
Mm.
definitely, again, it just completely like changed my like perspective, I guess, on music in general. Because again, before I was just really into like listening to pop punk and like metalcore and all that, and then suddenly like I get recommended, or like YouTube recommends like, oh, Daft Punk Random Access Memories, like full album, and just like I just listen to that, and it just everything that happens in an album, it just blows my mind. And whenever my new album comes out, you hear a lot of like inspiration from it. It's a really good album. It's really hard to explain. Like sometimes it's hard to explain. Whoa, why is this your favorite album? Like I don't know. Just like just listening to it. It's just an experience.
It's just good, man.
It's just
Yeah.
really good. You got to trust me on this.
Yeah.
Sources is me. Just trust me. And then up there like Random Access Memories, and then Tyler the Creator's Flower Boy. Again,
Yeah,
that
that's a good album.
again because like again I listened to Tyler the Creator back when he like first started releasing music, and then suddenly he goes like kind of MIA for a bit. They just released his
Mm.
Flower Boy. It's like this is completely different from his previous stuff. It's
Oh yeah.
that was insane to listen to that too. It's like something like I think like what if I could go back and listen to what X album, whatever album, like for the first time. Just that
Mm.
experience of listening to an album for the first time is amazing.
Yep. There's nothing like it.
You mentioned some albums that came out this year. What are some of your picks? I guess your favorite albums this year so far.
Ooh, yeah. So definitely, I already said Owen, Phoebe Bridgers, Paris. They released a really good album. Out of Rooms, we got Bring Me the Horizon. Surprised
That was
everyone. It was
surprised.
like,
I was so
what's
surprised
up,
by that.
guys? Okay. The song Teardrops. I know it's a
Yes.
single, and everyone's like, singles, blah blah blah. No, Teardrops is fucking sick. I don't change my mind. I don't
Yeah.
care. It's good.
That completely caught me off guard because I kind of fell off of them because their last like I still list like I still don't I like their new stuff, but like I kind of didn't really think about it. And it's like, oh, they dropped something. Okay, give it a listen. First song, I'm like, oh, okay,
Okay, we're doing this.
We're
All
doing
right.
this, huh?
Yeah. Um, who else? The Neighborhood. They put
Mhm.
out a really cool album. Um, I'm trying to think of like different genres. Do you listen to Logic? Logic put out his last
Yes,
album,
no
and it,
pressure.
yeah, no pressure.
That's number three, I think, for me. My favorite albums this year.
Ooh, you
Because
already got them rated.
yeah, because I guess like on with Logic, it's just this weird thing because even Spotify recognized like who even Spotify like sometimes notifies like everyone saying like, oh, you've been listening to this artist for X amount of years, and it suddenly notifies me like you've been listening to this artist since like 20 like 13
Mm,
2014. Click here to find out what it is. I'm like, oh, what is it? Just Logic. I'm like, and I think back, I'm like, yeah, it's like I've been listening to Logic for a while, but yeah, it is for a lot the past I think two albums. I just kind of just like joked on him. Like
mm.
I wasn't really a fan of his like past like 2 3 albums. So when he released this album, like, hmm, a lot of people are like hyping this up. Like, okay, I'll give it a listen. Again, first song, you're like, wow, he's going back to like the under pressure like kind of sound. It was really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be honest. I had heard of him. I never had listened to his music
Hmm.
prior to this album, but there was so much hype on the internet, I guess because it's his last one, right? And
Yep.
obviously it was good, so it was getting good, reviews and all that. So I was like, you know what? I gotta check this out. Let's see what the hype is all about. And I think the day that I listened to it for the first time, I listened to the album like 3 times front to back. I was just like, okay, this is good. Who is this guy?
Yeah, exactly.
And I went back and listened to like his entire discography, and I was just like, oh wow, okay. How did I not know about
Mhm.
this?
I'm so
So yeah,
bummed
it's
because I'm so bummed because I could have saw him last year because my friend's like, oh, I have an extra ticket for Logic. I'm like, I don't really
mm,
listen to Logic like that much, and so now I'm thinking about like I could have saw him.
yeah.
But yeah, do you have any like favorite songs off that album?
Oh man.
Hit My Line is definitely like up there for me,
Hit My Line's good.
and Dark
Five
Place.
Hooks. Five Hooks. Perfect. I think is probably up there for me.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're all good.
Hmm. But yeah, all the songs, Dad Bod to Aquarius 3,
Bad
just
Bod, yes.
the Dad Bod's great. Just you could hear like, yeah, I'm just done. I was like,
Yeah,
I had enough of you guys.
that's his given up song,
Yeah,
but like in a good way.
yeah, for sure. And what's another album that came? I guess. Do you have any other ones? Sorry, do you have any other albums that like stand out to you this year?
Um, fuck. Now I'm trying to think of like all the music that came out this year.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm like
Um,
low key looking at my Spotify right now. I'm like, what came out this year?
I mean, I can like we can go in there and see what's up. I always make like a 2020 playlist of like all the stuff that I like that comes out. Um,
I don't
let's
know if
see.
you ever listened to Hot Mulligan, like that
Yeah,
band.
they put out
Yeah,
a really good album
they're
this year.
probably my favorite like emo slash pop punk album that came out this year in general. Just like, and then Movement's new album too. That like I think those two really like stand out for me.
Those bands in general, like they can't do any wrong. Like
Honestly,
I
yeah.
I have yet to hear a bad song from Movements. Like they're
Mhm.
such a perfect.
Honestly, that's the same thing. I was also glad that I got to see them. I guess like a small story. I got to see them at Warp Tour, like the last Warp Tour, quote unquote.
Nice. Yeah,
Like
I
when they're
was
in,
there.
yeah. Oh, were you? Oh, awesome. But yeah, were you there when they played?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I caught their set. It was pretty
it
sick.
was so funny because what was it? Because 303 was performing before them,
Oh yeah.
and I remember looking at Pat in the background, just looking like he's like, okay, I just want to go on.
That's sad.
Cause I was waiting for
Oh
Sum 41, obviously. So it was like We the Kings, 303, then Movements, and then Sum
yeah.
41.
Yeah, that audience was interesting. Because obviously everyone was there for Sum 41. They just
Yeah,
were like staying and just some of them seemed like they were just suffering through some of the bands, but
yeah.
yeah, there's definitely there's always a mixed crowd at those types of festivals.
I was hyped with
So
Movements because a lot of people were really into it. Cause I was in the very front of that.
oh nice.
Yeah, so like there's like crowd surfers every single song. Everyone was really into it. It was good. That caught me off guard with that. I always hear that like, oh, Movements is great live and like all that stuff. And at the time, I didn't really listen to them. I only knew like their famous, like their popular songs. So
Mm,
just seeing them live is just like, all right, now I gotta go home and like listen to the discography now.
yeah. And see, that's the great thing about like those festivals, and that's why it's so sad that there's no more work tube or anything like that. But
Mm.
because like that's a great way to discover bands. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a show to see one band and then I went home a fan of, two or three other
Oh
bands.
yeah.
And again, like that's just why it kind of saddens me that we can't play shows right now because
Mm.
that's how a lot of people get fans just by playing shows. So yeah.
Yeah, one is
RIP Warp Tour.
RIP Warp
Add
Tour.
it to the list.
All right, we're at count 20 right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like yeah, discovering new bands through Warp Tour is funny. I found this R&B artist named Riley. He's this really good R&B artist. But I was just waiting in line like at an ice cream truck, and right next to it was just like this like, one of the smaller stages, and he was just performing, and I was like, I really like this stuff. And he's like, Hey, I'm Riley. Blah blah. It was just him like rapping, and then a saxophone player, and just like that was it. But like the entire time, I was just like, this is amazing. So again, I went home and I'm like a huge fan of him.
That's sick. That's a success story right there.
Yeah. I remember DM because I shared like one of his songs, like, oh, I really like your new song, whatever. He's like, oh, thanks, man. And I just told him like, hey, like I was waiting in line at the ice cream truck and I heard your music. And he's like, oh, thanks, man. I just had to tell him like, hey, man, like when people like find out like YouTube recommend him, like, no, I was just waiting in line to get ice cream, and then just like,
That's wholesome. I just wanted some ice cream, and then I became.
I got some good music as well while I was waiting for ice cream.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Right place at the right time.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I guess listing off some of my favorite albums this year. I don't know if you know who Gene Dawson is.
No, I don't.
Gene Dawson, he's this really good, like kind of emo mixed with rap. Yeah, just like emo rap, but
emo rap.
Not really emo, but like kind of like an indie vibe to it. He like somehow makes it like work. It's just like an indie, like think of like an indie rock kind of song, and he just like raps over it. Is there any artist that you discovered this year that you kind of like didn't expect to like get really into? That was me. Was Anderson .Paak. Was just this. He's really good. This Lockdown, his song he released this year, is my song of the year. Like personally, I didn't expect that because I didn't expect that at all. I'll send you a bunch of stuff after, but yeah,
please do.
His song Lockdown is just really an amazing song, and then the music video that goes along with it again is really amazing too. So I think Anderson .Paak, I think is like number one. I think for me, like an artist I discovered this year.
Yeah, I honestly like just thinking about it. I don't know. I guess Logic is pretty out there for me.
Logic,
like,
yeah.
I don't really listen to a lot of rap. Like, that's definitely something I'm just kind of discovering right now. So even to just like think, oh, hey, there's all this hype behind this album, like I'm gonna go check it out. Like, that's definitely a little out of the ordinary for me. But I mean, I ended up loving it. It's definitely one of my favorite albums this year. So that's out there. I discovered Phoebe Bridgers this year, and honestly, I'm like, I wish I discovered her earlier because she's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't like think of a whole lot of people. I've been just like stuck in school mode. I'm just kind of a hermit these days.
I feel that too.
Yeah.
All right.
But what about you? Like, any other people that you've discovered this year that are like top of the list?
Gene Dawson, most definitely. And
nice.
Also, I guess a side one is this J-pop, like Japanese pop group Perfume. There's just this Japanese trio pop group, and all their music. Personally, for me, I'm eventually gonna get a tattoo of them because they've kind of been helping me get through like this entire like quarantine and everything in general. All their music is so like positive, like yeah, go out there, you do your best or whatever. It's just
do your best.
Like do your best. Like you're cool, you're awesome. Just like it's just really motivating me. Yeah, I think yeah, Perfume, Gene Dawson, and then this other rapper. I'll send you after Amine. He released an album this year. He's a really good rapper too.
Cool.
Like I think just rap in general, like hip hop, I've been getting really into last year and this year. I just find myself slowly adding more like rap R&B to like my Spotify playlists. Yeah, I think that's a good end for the episode. Do you have any else to say? Like, you want to promote anything? Do you have anything like? Obviously, you have that new EP in the works. Is there anything you want to say?
I mean, I think we covered it all. So yeah, like I have like Loaded's out. What We Need is coming out December 4th. New EP in the works. I guess if anything, I just want to thank everyone like for the support, and I want to thank you for having me on the podcast. I think this is really cool. I hope that you continue to do it because I feel like you can do some big things. So just
thank you.
Big thanks all around. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we're gonna end this episode with a little snippet of the new Great Fight song.
I'll keep you calm if you keep me from feeling